Then these are the columns. So the rows are in numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is row 1, row 2, row 3. Then this is the column A, column B, column C. Can we see? Then if you check this side, you see the cell number. So this place is, the cell number here is D1 because it is on column D, row 1. So you can see on the formula bar here is changing. So this E1, then this E2, this column D, row 1, then this column D, row 2, then this column E, row 1, and this column E, so that's that. Then this O part is the cell. Then this O part is also the cell. So these are how you can identify, and you can type in your text. You can type in your text manually as well. You're welcome to today's tutorial brought to you by Gifted Hands Academy. Let's get at it. Let's say you want to perform a particular function. Let's say we have 43, we have 35, we have 23, we have 65, we have 90, and then we have 45. Then on column C, we have, let's say, 67, 62, 34, 98, 43, 90. So we want to perform a particular function. So let's say this is ID 1. Okay, let's say identity 1. Identity 1. Then let's say this is identity 2. So for identity 1, we want to get the sum of all this. So the first thing to do is to introduce, so we want to get the total or the sum. So let's say we have our total to be equal to, so we want to get the total of all this. So how to get this is to introduce the equal to sign. In adding the whole of the cell, we have different functions. We have the sum, we have the sum if, we have the average, just like I've shown us in the first video. So this is sum. So we type in the equal to sign, which is what we should do first for every Excel formula function. Then we have the sum. Can we see it is bringing different options we can pick? So you can just click on the one that you want and then tap enter. So after that, you select the cell with which you want it to sum. So that's B2 down to B7. So that's what I want it to sum together. Then you hit enter. Can we see it? So 301 is the total number on this identity 1. So that's for identity 1. Then for identity 2, I do the same thing, or I just drag. I can just drag this to this side, and then it gives me that. This is what we call autofill in Excel. We call it autofill. So if I don't want to do that, let me undo it. That's Ctrl Z. I can also type his own formula, equal to, then sum. So it's giving me the option. So I just click on it and I press enter. Then you go to the cell and then you drag it down. That's from cell C2 down, from cell C2. Okay, let's get that again. From cell C2, then you drag it down to cell C7, then you click enter. You can see we still have the same answer. So these are total for this. So that's one Excel function. So let's use the same data set. I highlighted it and then Ctrl C to copy. So let me paste it here again. So I want to get the average. So I want to get the average. I want to get the average of this. So the average of this now, the same thing, I come to this column here and then I click on my equal to. That's the first thing you do. So average, that's AV. So once you are typing it, it brings out the options. So just click on it and then press enter. So I want the average, that's the mean of, you can type in manually F1 to F7, then click enter. So this is the average for this identity one. Then to do the same for this, so you can just drag it. Once you have this plus sign, then you can just drag it autofills. So this is the average for this, but let's do it manually as well. So let me do it manually for us to see. So I click on the equal to sign and I have my average, type in the average, then I open bracket, then this cell G, this cell G2, then semicolon, cell G7, then I close the bracket. Can we see? So I'm intentionally typing this manually now so that we can see how it works. You see, we still have the same answers, 69. So the average for this is 50.16, then the average for this is 69. So that's the average. So let's do the sum, which is the total. So the sum, so equals to, let's say sum, then I open bracket, cell F2 down to cell F7, then I click enter. So that's the sum for that, which is the total. Then to get the other one, I just drag this and then it autofills. You position it until when it is showing that plus sign, then you drag it, it has autofill. Okay, let's say maximum value. Okay, so let's look at maximum value. That's the highest value in the cell. So just click equal to, then type max, max. So that's the maximum value. These are just simple Excel functions. Then open the bracket, then click on the cell you want, that's F2, then drag it down to F7, then you hit enter. So that's the maximum value. So the maximum value here, the highest value on this identity one is 90. Then you can autofill it by dragging it to this side, or let's do it manually as well. We had 98 there. So let's say equal to, then we have max, that's maximum value, then open bracket, then click on this, or you type the cell number, which is G2, that's column G, row 2, then a semicolon, and then you type in G7, which is the last cell there, G7, then you close the bracket and then you hit your enter. So it gives us 98. So let's now see the minimum value. So minimum value, so you click equal to, then min, min, that's the minimum value. Then you open your bracket, then click on this, then drag it down. You can see minimum value F2 to F7, then click enter. So the minimum value here is 23. Can we see that? Then the minimum value here as well, you can just autofill. Can we see that? It's 34. So that's that. Then if, let's say I want to create I want this row to be more than this. So I want to create this row, identity 1 and identity 2. I want it to still be longer. So I highlighted, and then I copy with Ctrl C, and I pasted with Ctrl V. So I want this row to be longer. So this is another function I want to show us. So equals to, I can just say equals to, then this I can say plus, I can use the plus sign, plus, let's say plus 10. So let's see what it will give me. It gives me 55. Then let's say this equals to, let's say this, the last row here, which is K7, then plus, let's say 10 as well. So this gives me 100. So I want to autofill. So I just drag it down. Can we see it? So I'm increasing. Now what this is doing is, from here now, is adding 10 to it, to the numbers. So the same thing here, I can just drag it down. You can see. So it's adding 10. So depending on the function that I give to it, so it has increased our cell now. So we have longer column. So that's that, and you can still continue it until you give it another different command. So that's the beauty of it. We'll see in the next class.